So last year, I forget how many we made, but we decided to start tracking hours. And last year, we ended up saving 1,000 hours of time spent just by looking at our processes and saying, how do we make them better? We had some really early wins that some of them were pretty big.
Today, I'm excited to welcome Nick Klein to the show. Now, Nick, as you'll hear, works in the banking industry, which is a really cool way to apply lean. And so what we do on the show today is sort of talk about their journey with lean and continuous improvement. They're newer to the journey, and so I was very curious, like, on how they got started. I asked them, did you find lean or did lean find you? That sort of thing. And then we just kind of dive into like what they're doing and how they're applying continuous improvement in their industry. Talk a lot about the people side of things, like how their people are they buying in? Is there any struggles on that end of it? And then we even get into some of the improvements that they've made. So it's a really fun episode. I think you're going to enjoy this one. I know I did. So show notes can be found over at gembapodcast.com. This is episode 606. Again, gembapodcast.com and look for episode 606. Okay, enough from me. Let's get to the show. Nick, welcome to the show. How's it going?
Hey, it's going great, Ron. Really excited to be here.
Yeah, excited to have you. Where are you calling in from?
So I am calling from a town in south central Pennsylvania that's pronounced Ephrata, Ephrata, and the running joke here is anybody that's not from here will call it Ephrata. So typically we correct people, it's Ephrata.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
So Penn State, Pitt, like where's your alliance?
Yeah, so I'm a Penn State grad.
Okay.
We're about 2 hours southeast of Penn State. And
okay.
Yeah.
You get to go to some games still?
I actually have not been to a game since I graduated.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I know. It's been too long.
Yeah. Well, you got a good team this year. I'm a Buckeye, man. You may know that.
Oh, are you really?
Oh, yeah. I grew up in Ohio. So, yeah, I've been following Ohio State.
I won't hold it against you.
Yeah, I know. My mom always says, I live in Texas now. We've been here for 20 some years, but my mom says you can take the boy out of Ohio, but you can't take Ohio out of the boy,
That's it.
So,
yeah. I get it.
Yeah. So good stuff, man. All right. Well, hey, man, I'm excited to have you on the show. As you know, we like to get things going with our guests sharing a quote. So what do you got?
So my quote is a quote that would be no surprise to anybody practicing lean. A bad system will beat a good person every time, by Deming.
What's that mean to you?
So I just think about over time, the people that have, either vented to me about, things not working out at a job, or even looking at my own team and saying, are we setting people up to fail? And if somebody left an organization and we replaced them with the best person that anyone's ever worked with, if they're not given the tools and the system to succeed, it doesn't matter. They're going to struggle.
Yeah, man, for sure. Oh, Dr. Deming, he had some wisdom, didn't he? God.
Oh man, he's something.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, tell us a little bit about yourself, Nick. Tell us about your background and what you're up to these days, and maybe how you first got involved in all this continuous improvement stuff.
So I'm a Penn State grad and started my role as a bank examiner for 4 years, cut my teeth into banking, and then had a chance to go to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, work for ENB, Ephrata National Bank, and I've been here for 14 years. I started here in a quality control role in the loan area, and was invited to be the chief risk officer here about 5 years ago now. And we've got a lot of good stuff going here. And we're $2.2 billion in assets. We have about 15 locations. We actually just purchased a small bank in Maryland. So that's been taking up a lot of our time. We're really excited about that. And, I've been on this continuous improvement journey now for about probably 2.5, 3 years.
Well, curious, like in that industry, like what brought you to continuous improvement? How'd you find it, or did it find you? Or
I think it found me. So
okay.
I'm a big podcaster, and a guy I like to listen to, he had Paul Akers on his show, which, everybody knows Paul in the lean world. And he was just really excited to talk about lean. And
Paul,
yeah, right. So, I actually remember this podcast extraordinarily well. I was in my living room working out as I'm listening to this guy talk. And he talked about this invention that he made where he
Hmm.
travels so much and he likes to bring his guitar on trips, and he didn't like having a suitcase and a guitar, so he made a guitar case where he could actually pack a couple days worth of clothes. And I'm like, you know what, this guy's onto something. This is really cool, and he's so excited about it that I need to give this a shot. I need to
Yeah.
start digging into this a little bit more.
Paul is excited about life.
Yes,
Yeah,
he
he's
is.
yeah. It's been a while since I've connected with Paul. I need to reach out to him and say
Mm.
hello. Yeah, we've actually got to visit Fast Cap a few times, and
Okay.
we shot several, we call them Gumba Academy Live episodes, where we go in and see companies who are practicing lean and whatnot. And yeah, Paul's fantastic.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh yeah.
so, all right. Well, tell us a little bit about your journey there at your organization, and so you kind of drank the Kool-Aid, for lack of a better
Yes.
phrase,
That's
and
it.
were you the one that sort of got it going there, or
Yes.
how did it happen there?
Yeah, and I would say we're still very early in our lean journey here at ENB, but I quickly picked up on it. I read Paul Akers' one book, and then that led to a host of other books, and just started to see and ask, what can we do here to start that lean continuous improvement journey? And we've really been working on it within our enterprise risk management team now, probably for a solid 2 years now, and it's continued to evolve, obviously. But the thing that we started with was me just talking about the eight wastes and helping my team understand, how do we go into every process with a mindset of, you know, why do we do what we do? How can we do it better? How can we do it differently? And at the end of the day, what are we doing it for?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest challenges in the banking industry is it's it's so regulatory heavy. There's so many rules, so many laws, that a lot of the things we do, it's hard to think and segregate what do we have to do because the regulators say we have to do it, and then how can we do it so that there's limited impact on the customer and we're still somehow adding value to that customer.
Mm-hmm.
That has been probably the biggest challenge with lean here. Not the only one, but definitely a big one. But for our team, it's really just been looking at our processes and saying, what can we cut? Why do we do the things that we do? How can we do them better? And really starting to understand the different steps that are involved. So we've been having some fun with it. What we started to do last year is we just started keeping a list of all of the improvements that we've made. So last year, I forget how many we made, but we decided to start tracking hours. And last year, we ended up saving 1,000 hours of time spent just by looking at our processes and saying,
Wow.
how do we make them better? Yeah, we had some really early wins that some of them were pretty big.
Can you give? I know it's probably like, could tell me, but he didn't have to.
Yeah, right. Everything's super
In your
confidential.
industry
Right?
or whatever. But like, can you give an example, maybe like of an improvement or two that you
Oh, sure.
that you guys made?
Yeah, the one that I was thinking about yesterday is we had an incident occur late. I think it was late last year where something had just gotten dropped. Right, somebody had left, and uh, in the scramble just to keep things moving, something wasn't getting done. There was an issue, and somebody on my team went out and just started looking at the process. What happened? Why did it happen? And as they looked at it, it wasn't just let's figure out what caused this and move on. It's, hey, why do you do this the way that you do it?
Mm.
And it was a very manual process. You got a lot of copying and pasting, a lot of emails to customers. And I don't remember how the question was asked, but they figured out that, there's a report that you can pull that will literally save you an hour every single day.
Wow.
So that was a massive improvement, just by sitting with a different department with a different mindset. And so that was one of the bigger wins.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we had another one where, we have to collect data for the government. And once upon a time, we were collecting data for loans that we didn't need to collect data for. And somebody finally, figured out the process well enough to say, why do we collect this data if we're not actually submitting it, or we don't need to submit it to the government? So that was another one where that was a really big win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm curious. So you're newer on the journey. Like as far as like getting all of, well, how many team members are we talking about here as far as involved in your initiative, your
Yeah.
program?
So our total organization is about 325.
Okay.
Our ERM team is about 15.
And so it's all 325 sort of on the continuous improvement.
So right now we're really
Or,
focused on the ERM side.
okay.
What's cool is that other departments are starting to notice, and
Ah,
so we've had opportunities to share, and
yeah.
that's one of the biggest things that's motivated me to keep going and keep talking about it is I've gotten the chance to meet with quite a few teams,
Yeah.
and what's really cool is our team has such a reach with other departments. So audit, compliance,
Yeah.
it all impacts every different department at the bank, and so we can share our mindset and our concepts, and so people are like, hey, there's actually something to this. We want to learn more. We want to start doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember, I can't remember what company it was, but I'm talking about sort of like a month in close, of the books, sort of,
Yep.
and how this company basically, they don't even do a close anymore. It's because it's basically done,
Wow.
like because they've streamlined all their processes and they've gotten everything. So I mean, there's a little bit that they do, but it's not like it used to be where it would just like all hands on deck sort of thing. And just that's the beauty of lean and continuous improvement is it doesn't know a boundary, right? The only
That's
boundary is
right.
us and our minds and our limiting beliefs, right? And so yeah, it's processes are processes and people are people, right? And
Right.
yeah, so that's fantastic. Was everybody sort of bought in from the beginning? Did you have any sort of resistance, or I know it's a small team, so you don't want to talk. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
this
no,
one
that's
person was terrible.
no, it's interesting because you have quite a few guests on your podcast that will talk about that person or those couple people that really fight you, right? I know Adam Lawrence was on your show and he talked about a guy who he eventually came around, but it took some time. I did not have that experience here. It was more of, I think for me, it was, okay, is this just one of those fads that Nick's going to talk about for 3 months and then something else is going to come around and then
Yeah.
we're not going to talk about lean anymore? But I think after about 6 to 9 months, people started to realize, no, he's serious about this. This isn't going away. So I've had different levels of buy-in, but I've never had anybody truly disengaged.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's been exciting is you start to see the snowball effect, right? You have a couple people starting to make improvements and then you start to hear the lingo. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when I started to really, go home with my fist in the air saying, hey, yeah, we're moving, we're doing good work here. So having people that are willing to engage our team, I have 4 direct reports, 15 people total on my team, but to see those 4 start to take more ownership of it and make it their own and be able to communicate it just as well, if not better than I can.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Do you
what's
guys
really been cool.
do you call it lean internally or continuous improvement, or do you have a name for it?
No, we call it lean.
Okay.
Yeah, and people know it. Like I get so excited about it. People know me now as the lean guy at EMB,
Okay.
right? Like I had an intern last summer in 2024, and I saw him last night, and that was the first word he mentioned is how's lean going?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's fantastic. Well, so talk, I mean, I'm sure it hasn't been easy always, and
No.
very surprised if it's been easy. What are some of the challenges that you guys are facing in particular? Because, the banking industry is a unique application
It is.
of lean.
That is exactly the issue is I don't have a lot of history to go off of. I've been reading so many books talking to people that spent their life in manufacturing, right? A lot of industrial engineers have really perfected lean.
Right.
Um, there's not a lot of resources in banking. It's healthcare, it's manufacturing, and to a lesser extent, it's technology. So I found one book that was a little hard to obtain that was written by a bank in Australia and a bank in New York that talked about how they did lean. The challenge, though, is those are much larger institutions, whereas I have not met another banker in the community banking space, smaller banks that have done this. So it has been really, okay, manufacturing, healthcare, how do I apply their principles to banking? And so
Yeah.
that's, I feel for me, that's why it's been taking me a while to just kind of slowly introduce this and let it build, because it's different, right? There's not a production line per se. There are certainly transactions that occur on a daily basis. There's a loan process, a deposit opening process, but it's not like we have an actual physical product that we provide to a customer.
Yeah. Yeah. I just did a quick search on Gimba Academy's website because I was curious, what do we have on banking? We
Yeah,
got a little bit. We could
yeah,
do more. But yeah, there was, in fact, I found we, in 2016, we visited the state of Connecticut, and there basically it was a statewide sort of lean showcase. And one of the groups that we met with was their Department of Banking, and
excellent.
they talked about let's see what it says there, how lean thinking is helping to eliminate duplicate processes through their organization. So yeah, so maybe I'll point you to that, and you
Yeah,
can
that
check
would be
that
great.
out. But and I actually did a podcast, and it was oh gosh, where was it? Yeah, I just lost it. But with another banking
Oh, I'll have to go
person.
look
So
through
yeah,
your
yeah.
history
So
there.
just
Yeah,
search it up banking on our website and you can find it there. So
yeah. It's interesting because I did have two individuals on my team, I think last fall, do a lean workshop in
mm,
York County, just the next county over. And they told me that, when they got there and they introduced themselves, they're like, "What are you doing here?"
yeah,
We've never had anybody from the banking industry here before. Um, but it was a good experience for them.
yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, it's a book waiting to be written. You could
There we
write
go.
it. You
Hey,
know?
if we keep moving forward, that would be awesome. Would love that
Yeah, yeah.
opportunity. Yeah.
I know you talked a little bit about some of your improvements, but has there been any other sort of like big breakthrough or a big sort of aha for you?
So I got really excited this year because we've been going through a pretty robust leadership training process with a consultant up in Massachusetts who's been coming over quite a bit, and the focus has been systems thinking. And so didn't realize it quite at the beginning, but as time went on and we started meeting more, and he starts throwing out words like Hoshin and Kaizen, I'm like, wait a second, this is all connected.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I meet with him every couple of weeks, and he's been a huge resource to help me, understand how lean and systems thinking is all really one big thing. And it's allowed me to have more conversations with our leadership team, whether it's our CEO or COO, to say, hey, how do we tie everything in and really help our organization not just think in systems but think lean.
Hmm. Hmm. Um, what about just over the next, I don't know, year or two? Do you have, I mean, do you have Hoshin? Kind of, are you looking at some sort of like long-term
We
goals
do.
and things that you're trying to accomplish?
Yeah, so we actually did introduce Hoshin a couple of years ago. We call it something different, and we struggled to get it off the ground, but we are starting to reintroduce it now that we've gotten more of the systems thinking ingrained in our team. So I just had a conversation with my team a couple of days ago, talking about that concept and how it all ties back to our overarching corporate strategy. Um, so I'm excited to continue to work through that and really execute it on our team at a high level,
Hmm.
um, in hopes that everybody else is going to say, okay, this makes sense now.
Hmm.
Nick's team can communicate it in a way that's really effective, and we see how good of a job they're doing. Let's follow suit.
Hmm. Hmm. Stealing from my buddy Mark Graben, um, do you have like a favorite mistake that you've made or something that you've done wrong that you really learn from and you're like, oh man, that stunk that happened, but we're better off because of it.
Yeah, I think so. This might be a good example. So one of the issues we struggle with continuous improvement is we want to add value to the customer, and we want to eliminate as much waste as possible, but we still have to remember that we have to follow the law. So,
Yeah, that's
I'll
important.
completely own up to it, and hopefully no regulators are listening to this.
Yeah.
But, we had we had an individual, self-select out of the organization, and we decided, let's just evaluate the whole system and everything that's going on. And we met with the team, and they were doing something, and we're asking, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Nobody can tell me why we're doing it. It doesn't appear that there's any regulatory reason for doing it. And then we hire a replacement a couple months later, and they're like, why aren't you doing that? Well, because nobody was looking at it. It's not providing any value. Oh, well, according to this reg, we are required to do it. So we had to put that one back. So,
Mm-hmm.
pretty low stakes. It wasn't anything that's going to, we'd get fined for, or,
Right, right.
it would be a, hey, don't do that again kind of thing. But it was a
Yeah.
good reminder to say, you know what, in our quest for continuous improvement, we need to make sure we're going at a slow enough pace that we don't put ourselves in any regulatory hot water.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, obviously within lean, we talk about, value added, non-value added, but then sometimes you talk about essential non-value added. Like it doesn't technically add value to the customer, but we got to do it. Right.
Right.
But I always sometimes I'll even push back on, even here, if we're doing things that you feel like, gosh, why are we doing this? But the reality is in your industry in particular, you're dealing with a lot of money, right? And
a lot of money.
These guidelines, these regulations, even though they might be a drag, there probably is a very good reason, right, that you're doing it, right? And so even if you're sort of grumbling about it, if you really step back and say, imagine you were in charge,
Right.
of the whole thing, like,
Right.
and would you do away with this? And so I don't know, it's tough when we look at these essential non-value added tasks. That
I will say though, Ron, one of the things that I've been challenging my team on is we have to do this, right? Regulatorily, we're required by law to do it, but that doesn't mean we have to do it the way that another bank is doing it. So let's understand what is the essence of the rule? What are they really trying to get at? And can we do it in a way that is compliant, but is actually even better for the customer,
right,
than how other banks do it? Can we write something that's a little bit easier to read? Can we write something that is more clear? Something that we disclose to the customer that might be 2 pages. Does it have to be 2 pages?
Right.
Is it still compliant if it's a half a page? Things like that.
Right. So maybe to wrap things up, let's say there's someone listening right now that's in the banking or finance industry, something like that, and they're curious about maybe getting started with lean, with continuous improvement, but they don't even know where to begin. Like, what advice do you have for that person?
Biggest piece of advice is just start making improvements in your own role. I'll go back to Paul, right? He says there's enough waste in your own life to last you 10 lifetimes.
Yeah.
So what you can do is just start looking at your own processes, 5S, right? Look at your desk. Is it a mess? Start
your
there.
Computer,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, I look at these people that their desktops are filled with icons, and I just immediately have anxiety. Clean that up, standardize and sort that, and make it pretty, fix what bugs you, and then go to the next thing.
Right.
And then as you look at, I tell my team, even if it's something as simple as learning a keyboard shortcut, even if it's something as just, refiling all of your folders, you're going to look at that and you're going to say, you know what? I don't click around so much anymore. This is great. Now all of a sudden I'm more relaxed. I've got more time to focus on the things that I want to focus on.
Yeah.
If you do that enough and you start talking about it, it will pique people's interest.
Right. Yeah. And error proofing, I feel like especially everybody can benefit, but golly, in your world, like a mistake could be devastating. Right.
That's true.
So finding ways to just sort of poke-yoke and just make it impossible to make a mistake. Those are, I would say, very beneficial things for folks. Again, everybody.
Well, that's right. We even talk about that, especially with our frontline employees, right? Our tellers and our branch staff is, you have to make so many decisions every single day. not only do you have to do customer transactions, but you have to catch the fraudsters that are showing up,
Yeah.
trying to rip us off. And
Right.
what are the things that we can put in place that'll prevent you from making a mistake
Yeah.
and force, allow you to use a little less brain power so that you can go home at night and not be exhausted.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Fantastic. Awesome. Well, hey, man, this has been a lot of fun, Nick. I appreciate you coming on. If folks wanted to connect with you, what's the best way?
LinkedIn is my social media of choice.
Okay.
So look me up at Nick Klein. I go by the title Risk Nerd Lean Nut. So there might be a couple of me. Just look for that one.
Okay, I like it. Well, we're going to link it up in the show notes so everybody can go and connect with Nick. And yeah, man, thanks for coming on and keep up the great work. And I'll be curious. Maybe have you back on in a year or something like that, and we'll hear about all the improvements you made.
Happy to. Thank you, Ron.
All right. Okay, take care. Thanks for listening. Whether you've been on the continuous improvement journey for many years, or perhaps you're just getting started, Gemba Academy is here to support you. And while we're best known for our more than 1,500 Lean and Six Sigma teaching and virtual tour videos, we also have a team of experienced Lean and Six Sigma practitioners available for one-on-one coaching, as well as a variety of Lean and Six Sigma certification options. To learn more and to schedule a demo, head on over to gembaacademy.com.